Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and a happy Easter Monday to all those people who are not Orthodox in other parts of the world. As you can see, the weather here today is it's not good today. We had rain last night. What started off as a nice day yesterday, the weather just slowly kind of deteriorated over the day, and then by the evening, guess what? We had rain. So anyway, this is the look today. Very hazy. Sort of bit misty, really. That's the best way to describe it, rather than hazy. Cloud all over in the sky. I'm not sure if it's going to burn off today and we're going to get some sunshine, but yeah, it's looking a little bit not as nice. Chickens are there out and about. There's Dorothy. Oh, you're looking very wet, aren't you? That must have been the rain last night, or either that you're looking very henpecked, or it's the grass is that wet that you're all getting ruffled in the grass. Anyway, that's the look at from the back of the house here, and as you can see, the sun is being literally obliterated by the cloud. It's that thick, and hopefully it'll burn it off. So yeah, it's looking a bit grim. I've just seen a weather forecast, I think, come up there from Amanda Gregory. Thomas Ganzer tuning in from Austria. Nice to see you here as well, Thomas, and Alf Ling as well. Looking towards Sillavi, where Jane and we went for a walk yesterday on the beach with a friend, Suzanne. First time we'd actually managed to go for a walk on the beach. We also saw Neil from Grace's Bar there as well, and we had a nice little walk along the beach. We thought it would have been busier on the beach, but no, it wasn't really, actually. There weren't that many people out, to be quite honest. But anyway, so that's the first time we were allowed away from our home location this weekend to exercise. So we went up to Sillavi and had a walk on the beach. Right, lots of news this morning, also a bit of catch up as well from some of the reporting of statistics from the other day where we didn't have the whole story. So let me just switch myself around and let's crack on with the news and with what's been going on in the last 24 hours here in Greece. So big shout to Vicky Gold, and now it's getting very slow turning round. Come on, turn. There we go. We've turned round, and as you can see, it's a little bit darker today, and I feel a little bit. I can't even see very clearly out my glasses, even though it's a dark day. Right, okay, let's have a look at the COVID stats for the last 24 hours. Once again, just a reminder, it is now the 5th of April 2021. So this month is now starting to shoot past now. As Jane said this morning, I'd been my last 10 days before going back to work in a normal season. But anyway, it's day 151 of the lockdown. It's Monday, and COVID in the last 24 hours. Right, new infections then. New infections are actually down on last report for you, so that's a bit of positive. I did report the other day on Sunday that there was 3,232 new infections, and for today then, I can report to you 1,955 new infections were recorded yesterday. So that brings the total at the moment to 275,414 from the time that the pandemic started, and for new cases arriving into the country, that's slightly up from 4 on the other day to 6 new cases were identified at ports of entry into the country. Now, according to the national stats yesterday, Lefkada had no new cases, so they've gone back to not having any. Kefalonia had 3 new cases. There were 6 new cases on Corfu, and there are also 6 new cases reported on Zakynthos yesterday. Now, locally, if you remember yesterday, I didn't have any stats for infections on Saturday. Can I just say thank you to Lindsay Lamb, who sent me a message while I was mid-broadcast to say that the figures had been published while I was on air. That's how early I did the broadcast yesterday. And we'd actually had 5 new cases reported on the Saturday. And as for Sunday, checking this morning, there were 3 new cases confirmed on the island on Sunday. In fact, one was diagnosed in the early hours of the morning. The COVID-19 threat at the moment, the COVID-19 clinic at the moment on Zakynthos is treating now 11 patients, and 1 patient is in the ICU in Zakynthos. So those numbers have gone up slightly. So basically on Sunday we had 3 new infections. and the local and the national stats were reporting 6. So what I've done is I only report the locally confirmed cases. So that means at the moment here on the ground in Zakynthos, we've had 323 positive cases since the beginning of the year. And this month, believe it or not, we're only into the 5th of April and we've had 39 cases to date from up until the 5th of April. So again, that's not looking good in our stats for us getting out of deep red at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see how things proceed in that area. Anyway, as for deaths, I'm afraid across the country, deaths are also up at the moment. I did report to you we had 70 deaths before. Today, reporting 78 new deaths across Greece. Once again, our condolences to the families affected. That brings the grand total of deaths since the pandemic started to 8,380. The average age of most of those patients was 70 years of age, and 96.4% of them actually suffered from underlying conditions. And the daily death rate in 2019, before the arrival of COVID, was around about 329 deaths a day was the daily average rate. So at the moment then, we've had no new deaths at all this month, thankfully, but we have had 3 deaths. First one was in February and we had 2 in March, and so far April we've had nothing, and let's just hope it stays that way. As for critical cases, those are slightly down on the national statistics. 755 patients were reported, and now that has dropped to 749, of which 494 are male and 255 are female. The average age of those people in incubation at the moment is around about 68 years of age, and they have underlying health conditions. That's 86% of them. Sorry, the average age of critical patients, I do apologise, is 68 years of age, and 86.5% of those have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. And once again, just to remind you that at the moment, we've got 11 people in the COVID clinic here in Zakynthos and 1 person in an ICU bed being treated. So hopefully that all of those people are going to just recover and then obviously go home, and the person in the ICU bed, hopefully they are going to recover without any problems as well. Right, today's news then. Right, so as Greece enters the most critical phase since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic last year, the government's decision to partially decompress, they're calling it, rather than open the economy entirely. The Greek government sees the best way forward, or sees this as the best way forward to keep the country's finances afloat and obviously the hospitals from buckling under the pressure. So the Greek Prime Minister suggested in Parliament saying, let's get to Easter safe. So what he's basically planning is the parameters are now expected to play a crucial role as Easter approaches. Firstly, it's been decided that the situation that will prevail at beaches and in parks and other public spaces with the lifting of the restrictions on movement between the municipalities on the weekend, which started on Saturday, they're going to be looking at how people have been interacting. And if people are abusing the privilege of being able to go into public areas, not having parties and get-togethers, and basically enjoying themselves a little bit too much, he has put the option in to basically take that privilege away. All right, he said the move was seen as a crash test, he said, and to see if we see overcrowding in the restrictions, and we see people basically on beaches not doing as they should be doing in the way of exercising, then obviously Mitsotakis said he would take that right away. But anyway, from what we saw yesterday, most people were just happy to be able to walk along a beach yesterday. I wouldn't say Sylvie Beach was overly crowded. People were there, people still, wearing their masks, some of them just happy to be walking up and down. And a lot of people talking as well about their feelings about what's been going on and the fact that they've had enough. And a lot of people made that very clear yesterday that we spoke with as we were walking along the beach, that they'd had enough and they just wanted to get back to normality. Anyway, the Greek government has also stressed that it is very important this does not serve as a pretext for extra travel and overcrowding and people trying to circumnavigate or circumvent the measures that are in place. Now, sorry, I've really muddled that a little bit there for you. The second parameter is the reopening of retail today as the economy must return. But also in accordance with strict rules. And as I've already said with the strict rules, I think a lot of people are finding these just a little bit confusing and a little bit, what is the point? You're safer in a small shop as you are safe in a big supermarket. What is the difference? Are you going to does the coronavirus not go into the big supermarkets, but just goes into the little shops? The important thing is to get these shops open. And this, phoning up, making an appointment to go into the shop, click and collecting from a shop. And also it puts people in a strange position as well. And this was a point that Lady Jane actually raised. And I hadn't thought of it like this before. If you're going to go to the effort to phone a shop up and say, I want to come into the shop to buy something, the shop isn't immediately obviously going to let you come into their shop. And there's going to be a pressure on the person going in to actually have to purchase something. Maybe they want to go in, have a look at something, and then decide that they want it or no, they don't want it. So people might be feeling like, well, if I'm going to go into a shop and I've got to go through all the effort to phone up and say, I want to make an appointment to come in to buy something, some people might not want to do that because they don't want to feel obliged that if they've gone to that effort to go in to buy something and they can't see what they want, they're feeling forced to buy something, if you see what I mean. So again, I don't think a lot of thought has been given on that score as well. But anyway, as I said before, it's important that those shops do open, they do get back to business, but also as well, when he's on about circumventing measures, again, the privilege of shopping then in a shop is then obviously going to be taken away. So again, that sounds very draconian. Now, the third part of this is the third big bet is that for the next 15 days, which will ultimately influence the course of the pandemic and the next steps, that will be decided. And also the self-testing kits that were supposedly going to be given out at some point in this month. Also, that is going to be looked at as well. And also the first tests will be available, according to the stats I've seen, in the pharmacies from next week. This is when the first testing kits will then be delivered. And it's going to be interesting to see how people take to these testing kits. I'm very sceptical now with them as well, to be quite honest. Is because people will take a reading if they don't like the result that they're getting, and they have to themselves put the result onto the national platform to say whether they've got it or not. First things for sure, if they do get it, are people going to be honest in their answer? If they get the virus and they record a positive and they don't feel bad and they don't feel unwell, are they going to put that down as a positive and be honest? Or are they going to say, well, sod it, it's tested positive, I'm not feeling any symptoms, I don't feel sick, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm all right, and do that. So therefore, by the pharmacies not carrying out the checks, which the pharmacists have said they're not going to do because their union basically doesn't want them to, I feel that certain people are going to play with their result that they might get because it might fit their circumstances. If you're working, shall we say, and still managing to make money, and you test positive and you feel okay and you feel that you are not ill to go back to work because you've got to make money to live, I think people will say, sod it, I'm okay, I'll go if I have to enter it. Or they're just not going to use the test kit, which is the other thing, and they'll just sit gathering dust in the corner. And also on the other side, old people who are not au fait with what goes on, they're not au fait with the internet because the result has to be put online. They will not use them. They might be daunted by the fact of using them. And that's where the pharmacy could have come in and said, all right, we'll only do people over a certain age and we'll test them there, where we can do a more reliable test. And if they do test positive, we can offer them advice. either go to the hospital, have yourself checked again, or if they test positive and they're showing no symptoms and no signs, you can go back home and basically isolate yourself for 14 days, and we'll put a positive down on the national record so that you are counted. So again, we're into some interesting times here, especially for this week of April. Anyway, the government's goal now, they're saying, is to open the high schools again by the 12th of April, because at the moment they're all still learning online at home. And again, kids have got to get back to school, and they've also got to basically get an education, as it were. Anyway, also further to say that the desire of the government is not to implement the measures with tough policing, okay, but rather for the public to assume personal responsibility. It is also seeking to consolidate the feeling that Greece is heading towards the end of its pandemic ordeal. This is the words of the Prime Minister speaking now. This will no doubt be helped by an increasing rate of vaccinations, with Mitsotakis saying that there's 1.5 million vaccinations to be done through in April. So again, he's still trying to get the vaccinations through, but also waiting for vaccine to arrive so people can be vaccinated as well. Now, interestingly, the Greek Civil Aviation Authority yesterday announced that domestic flights within Greece will continue to be banned until Monday, April the 12th. Excluding those for businesses, people returning to permanent residence, or in exceptional reasons. Now, regarding international flights at the moment, the existing restrictions will stay in force until Monday, April the 19th. Now, going back to the retail sector again, it seems that retailers in the regions of Thessaloniki, Kozani, and also Achaia demanded on Saturday that the government reverse its decisions to keep their stores closed in those three regions for at least another week. They said apart from the financial damage they faced, the retailers also stressed that it's inexplicable that retailers in Attica, the region hit hardest by the pandemic, will begin to be operating again on Monday. An announcement by the Federation of Professionals and Traders of Thessaloniki's administrative region states that the decision is both unacceptable and unfair. And they said that a negative impression is created when the government takes a sudden decision to delay the opening of the stores for a week in a city that yesterday had 350 new cases, when simultaneously over 60% of new cases are recorded in the capital and the ICUs are at capacity, and yet the stores will open there normally on Monday. Anyway, Kastos Zaripolis, who's the president of Traders and Importers Group in Patra, also echoed the sentiment in an interview to the Best.gr. He said, how can Athens open up when it is in deep red, epidemiologically speaking, but not Patra and Thessaloniki? Despite retailers both in Patra and Thessaloniki have threatened the government that they will simply ignore the decision and open their stores normally on Monday, calling it an act of resistance. So again, we're going to keep a little eye on Patra, because Patra is the nearest city to us in Zakynthos, and we'll see if they carry their threat out to just normally open their stores. We are technically half opening our stores here because we are in deep red, basically still. And again, we're going to see how this limited opening is going to work for us here in Zakynthos. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, to be quite honest, to anybody and to the way people are actually living as well. Anyway, interestingly, 8 people were arrested and more than 1,000 fined during spot checks for violations of coronavirus measures by the Hellenic police on Friday. All 8 arrests took place in the capital, in Athens, adding that 6 people were arrested at 2 illegal gatherings. Officers issued, now get this, this is the amount of fines that they were issuing, and this is the reason why I've included this story. Officers issued a total of 396,000 euros worth of fines. The majority, 77.3%, pertain to violations on restrictions to public movement, i.e. people not booking in, booking out, or basically going out past their curfew time. But that's a lot of money, 396,000 euros in fines alone. And he's saying that he's not running a policed system. To me, it seems to be very policed at the moment. And here on Zakynthos again, we have had a lot of issues with people being fined for not wearing masks and also being fined for breaking the rules as well. Anyway, interestingly, my final story this morning is something that I saw was an article in the Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph, or the Sunday Telegraph, actually. Michael Gove. For those people who are not sure who Michael Gove is, if you're not international, Michael Gove is a politician. I'm not sure what his official title is, but he basically is what I would call the snivelling toady, is the best way to describe him. He was the guy that stabbed Boris in the back when there was a fight over the leadership. I remember him being interviewed on the BBC at the time about whether he wanted to be the Prime Minister, and he would not answer the question yes or no. But anyway, Michael Gove decided that he would write an article for the Sunday Telegraph. And I'm going to read this because I think it shows how people feel at the moment, not only in the UK, but also here in Greece as well. So Michael Gove asked readers to comment on an article in the Sunday Telegraph, which was basically said to keep sharing their views on the way ahead regarding COVID vaccine passports. All right. Now, he wrote, a certification will be an inevitability for international travel. It could be a valuable aid to opening up our domestic economy and society faster. His words, all right. Unless the government takes a lead, we risk others establishing the rules of the road. He also says, so where should the lines be drawn to help protect freedoms, respect privacy, promote equality, and get us back to normality? I can actually hear his voice ringing in my ears as I read that. And how can we ensure our approach is proportionate and time-related? Those are the questions we need to talk in the days ahead. And I know, he said, the Telegraph readers will help us find common sense. Now, Telegraph readers, normally middle-class England, I think is the best way to describe it. This is their replies to his comments, all right? Now, judging from some of the top-rated comments, and I've just gone through a few here, I think he may have regretted asking that question. I just have a feeling. Right, Sam Spencer says... He had 761 likes for this one at the time it was published. Anyway, he said, absolutely abhorrent idea, forcing a vaccine on people for a virus so deadly, most people need to be tested to know that they have it. He also said, 89 deaths for people under 40 in England without pre-existing health conditions, according to the NHS statistics. Why on earth should we tolerate any more of this dictatorship? He also said, you and your party have completely misjudged the mood of the nation, and to be quite frank with you, most people aren't listening to the rules anymore. You've become obsessed with COVID to the point where no other death matters. We're all sick to death of the goalposts constantly shifting and the barrage of lies. Clearly every other Tory voter here will be voting with our feet. You're a disgrace. Anyway, another person by the name of Nick Jones, who had 790 likes at the time of publication, said, why do we need any of this if 99% of those at risk of dying are now vaccinated? Which is a good point. David Barrett, who had 780 likes, said it's a disgraceful idea without justification. Another one from somebody else called Jane Kerr, who had 217 likes, said if the aim is to get us back to normality, then there is absolutely no role for COVID certification of any type. It absolutely is not normal to have to prove you're not infected with any particular disease in order to participate in normal life. Your own government is warning vaccinated people they mustn't meet indoors because the vaccine is not 100% effective. So it would be utterly nonsensical to allow or exclude people from anything on a basis of whether they are vaccinated or not. Vaccinated people can still catch and transmit COVID virus. If this is allowed, don't imagine it'll stop with COVID. How long before everyone is being tested for flu twice a week or any other virus the government cares to conjure up as the new bogeyman for the country? Got a good point there. Already we're seeing this where old people are being told they can't hug their grandchildren in case they give their grandchildren the virus. So does the vaccine work? Yes or no? There you go. Anyway, James Wright had 303 likes. He said, you needed to address your article. So you needed to address in your article why you were previously against vaccine passports, whereas now you seem to be in favour of them. And don't pretend this is some kind of consultation. We all know you're pushing it through regardless of what anyone says and regardless of your previous public comments or commitments. Can you see you are the epitome of why politicians are distrusted? And to be honest, Michael Gove is the master of distrust as far as I'm concerned. And then the final one, which I think absolutely nailed it on the head, was this one from, I think, a lady called Petter Steele. She had 919 likes at the time this article was published. She said this: I didn't even get past the first paragraph of your article. The average age of death worldwide of or with COVID is 82. Almost all of them were either very old, had severe underlying conditions, or both that hadn't changed from the start. Children almost never get it. Few young people who get it even show symptoms. Worldwide deaths are under 3 million since the beginning of last year. Spanish flu, she said, killed 50 million, mostly young people, in the same time span. Now just go away, you lying, deceitful, power-hungry and power-grabbing charlatan. And I think that plainly said it there. And then one last one who had an even higher amount was a lady called Claire Spencer. I wonder if she tunes into this show. She said basically, no, that clear enough for you. That sounded so Margaret Thatcher, that final statement. So there you go. That's what the Daily Telegraph is saying about the vaccination passport idea that's been proposed to people in the UK. All we can do is sit back and wait and see what happens. But again, here today, we have now got a little bit of freedom with the shopping thing. I don't see much of a change, to be quite honest. It's all rhetoric. Yes, we're doing this. Yes, we're doing that. And if you don't behave, we will put you back into lockdown, and you'll only be allowed to go around your house on exercise. No more 3 people in a car, and no more going to meet people to exercise as well. And you are allowed to walk in groups of 3 on the beach as well. That's the other bit of one of the rules that came in yesterday, or shall we say over the weekend. But again, these next 15 days are going to be crucial. As Jane would have said, I would be getting ready now to go back to work, because normally Jane would start work round about, say, 17th, 18th of April, getting ready for the summer season. But again, we'll wait and see. We're all now at the moment like greyhounds in a trap, waiting to see what is going to happen and what is going to be the way ahead. But anyway, let's have a quick look, see who's tuning in on your lovely bank holiday Monday. I don't know if the weather's still nice where you are at the moment, but Rachel Hansen is watching. Nice to see you. Thomas Ganser in Austria says, happy Easter. Thank you, Thomas. Amanda Gregory says, good morning, Ginge. A cloudy first thing, but will brighten up later, becoming sunny with highs of 19 degrees and will feel like 22. Enjoy the day. Thank you very much for that, Amanda. A lovely, concise weather report. And I'm hoping it is going to lighten up as well. Alf Ling is watching. Amanda Gregory obviously is watching. Emma Marku is watching. Vicky Gold, nice to see you tuning in, Vicky. Emma Marku says, morning, Ginge. Chris Jones is watching. Julie Halloran is watching. Maria Heidelberg in Sweden is watching as well. She said it was +4 the other day and the snow had all gone. So obviously summer is on the way back to Sweden. Julie Hanneran said, after a lovely few days, Manchester got some snow. So feeling nippy. You got snow in Manchester? My God, I never knew that. Wow. Anyway, Happy McNaughton is also tuning in. Nice to see you, looking in, my lovely. Alan Woodhouse is watching. Tracy M. Mitchell is watching. David Lowry is watching as well. Joanne Curry is watching too. Carl Samuel Keats is also tuning in. Lovely to see you here, big buddy. Dean Edwards is watching as well. Carol Davis is watching too. Philip Ellis is watching also. Linda Gary is watching too. Tim Miles is watching. Lorraine Margaret Cattrall said, happy Easter to you both. Thank you, my lovely. We're lucky. We get 2 Easters. We get the one, the Catholic one, and we also get the Greek Orthodox. Don't forget the Greek Orthodox is in April, all right? Sorry, in May. What am I saying? In May. I think the 4th of May, if I remember right. Anyway, the weekend around that time anyway. Laura Gant is also tuning in. Ian Daly is also tuning in. Nice to see you, buddy. Rachel Hansen says morning. Marie Heidelberg says, good morning. Heute Morgen. Woke up very white to view. Snow is back. Oh, have a lovely Monday. You just thought you'd lost it. Manchester has passed it over to you again. There you go. Rob Davis is watching. Shane Bowen is watching. Amanda Gregory says Kalamaki Beach was empty yesterday too. Lovely to get out and walk the dogs though. Yep. To be honest, it was lovely. There was some idiot in the Sillavi Beach driving up and down in a 4x4. I thought, dickhead, basically. But anyway, Nick Haviland is watching as well. Zanti Pete says, a very good morning, Ginge. Hope you're all enjoying the Easter break. Work today for me, but San Miguel chilling in the fridge for later. Good on you, and thank you for popping into the chat room yesterday. I know you come in a little bit late for the Northern Soul show. I think it might get a repeat again at some point over this Easter Bank Holiday Monday, but I know I was on the radio, on Beats Radio, I think 4 times over this Easter weekend with everything that they've been doing. So, again, you never know, you might see it. Also as well, David Douglas says, morning, Gin, just above freezing in Fife. There you go. Will Bland is watching. Angela Higginson is also there. Raina Davis and Pete Dillon is watching. Kevin Bell is watching. Andy Dance is watching. Dave Matthews says, good morning. Julie Robertson is watching. Janet Ferrant is watching. Susie Angus, the lovely Susie Angus, she's watching as well. Lovely to see you. Chick Ballantyne as well. And Wendy Norcliffe is watching too. I'm just going to flick through and see if anybody's got any comments. He says, very interesting what readers was saying to Gove. He sounds like he's got his birds in trying to squash the information there. He says, very interesting what the readers was saying to Gove's section. You know my views on this. People have had enough and the worldwide demons are showing this. Worldwide demos are showing this. Yeah, I agree totally. We've had enough here. When we were on the beach yesterday, we were talking to people of all areas. We had talked to Greeks, we talked to expatriates Dutch, we talked to expatriates English, and they all said the same. They're all fed up. They're all playing the game because basically they don't want to get fined. They don't want to pay out €300 in a fine. They just want to know where they stand, get back to work, know when the season is going to actually start. People are sort of hanging on, literally, financially hanging on by their fingernails. Once again, just to remind you, we've not had furlough like a lot of people in England have had furlough. Some people like Jane have had absolutely diddly squat, nothing, no financial help in any way. And people now here are getting really desperate to know what the way ahead is going to be. And then basically they want some proper leadership and some proper direction, not kind of veiled threats and policing and basically being told that we are going to open, this is going to go on. There's so many maybes that people are just getting a bit sick of it, and they just want to know, when are we starting? When are people going to come? But it's also not so much, it's in our hands, but it's also in the hands of other nations and others. So it's all kind of interlinked. Until Boris says you can come on holiday, we will breathe a sigh of relief here. We are sort of anticipating the Dutch arriving, the Serbians arriving, the Germans arriving. But even now with the Germans, that's kind of a little bit in doubt with what's gone over on the weekend with Angela Merkel over there. So again, at the end of the day, we are just waiting for, well, basically we're just waiting. That's it, to be told, yeah, you can come out your house and you can go and do normal things. You can go to a bar, you can go to a pub, you can go to the cinema even. Again, we've been 151 days in lockdown, and a very strict lockdown in comparison to the UK. And again, people being fined because they've had enough as well. But anyway, I'm not going to keep harping on about that. Let's just quickly see if anybody's got any other comments. Naomi says, very informative. Thank you, Naomi. Jerry Coyle is watching. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for all you people tuning in. Enjoy your bank holiday. Just to remind you, I might be back broadcasting on Beats Radio at some point during the day. Just keep a lookout. I might put something up just to remind you. If you want any requests or any dedications for my show on Wednesday, then by all means start popping them in. Comments area is ready for Wednesday's live broadcast after the Easter period. And we will see how we get on. But anyway, you have a happy Easter bank holiday Monday. Enjoy yourself. My son went magnet fishing yesterday around Milton Keynes. I'm curious to see how he got on. But anyway, you take care. Have a great day. And happy Easter to you all from us here in Greece. Ta-ra.